Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane, and today we have for you a 1 versus 1 on Angoville. Yes, indeed, it is good old Angoville, that quaint little map with all the farmland. And we'll be having, of course, a 1 versus 1. And in the northern corner, as the Americans, we are having Gaurav 252, Captain Gaurav of the 4th Infantry Division, leading the charge against HuskyStarcraft, who I do believe is a guy who does StarCraft cast, but I suspect this is not actually the fellow, just someone who likes to call himself that. Of course, I might be wrong. We'll of course find out, I suppose, if that is the case. But nonetheless, HuskyStarcraft of the 331st Grenadier division, Hauptmann Husky, who shall be holding the area while the 4th Infantry Division leads the charge, hoping to penetrate this line of defenses. And let us get going, shall we? Engineers moving southwards. With Gaurav apparently acknowledging that his opponent is pretty good. This is in fact a fellow who is number 11 on the 1 versus 1 Wehrmacht ladder. So yes, indeed, he is probably going to have a solid idea of how you play the Wehrmacht. So for those curious in Wehrmacht strategies, there might be some things to keep note of. No shit, perhaps not the most diplomatic and polite response, but I suppose that's fair enough. And we are seeing the usual riflemen start from here. Both pioneers setting up the Wehrmacht quarters rather swiftly and getting a move on. At the same time, Wehrmacht quarters also being at the boundaries of the base itself. Although at the same time blocking a bit for the machine gun there, but at the same time it's not going to have a huge effect here, considering all circumstances. Mind you, there's a small gap here which you can in fact get right through, and I have in fact experienced it. A bit nasty, and there's also a small gap here in case someone wants to be a bit sneaky and harass this point if someone has barbed wired this off, which is what most Wehrmacht players do. In fact, we are seeing a rather heavy concentration here, not branching towards this area, but instead focusing rather solely here. A bit interesting, in fact. Apparently using one pioneer team to just basically lay down as much barbed wire here down, which is not a bad idea. Of course, will protect this building, make it harder to harass, which is of course something American players love to do, since they can of course just prop in some riflemen here to cover this point, which will in fact stop any attacks through here. As you may notice, 5 windows, very difficult. And of course this point can also then be protected, so quite a lot of advantages. First firefight here, and we are seeing sandbags being laid down as well. Not a bad move. Gaurav quickly moving in to sort of flank and of course get the drop. Once more, remember that heavy cover is directional. But the pioneers though makes this a lot more of a dangerous venture, and Gaurav is swift to get out of there, realizing that he's probably not going to be winning this situation. So good move there. Really something you want to keep in mind, that sometimes the best option is to get the devil out of there instead of trying to fight a prolonged fight. And my goodness, we are seeing a lot of barbed wire here. In fact, keeping this point heavily wired off, leaving only these 2 points to actually get into this area, but at the same time it's going to prevent the enemy from actually getting any close. MG42 moving in, pioneers moving up here, but are stopped by a second team of riflemen. MG42 setting up here to perhaps stop any sort of hunting down of those pioneers, but Gaurav does not fall for it apparently. So that's interesting. Engineers continuing in the west, though apparently not even trying here, so that's rather interesting in fact. Both players going for each their side of the map, focusing fully with engineers there, which is certainly to the advantage of either side, or mostly to Gaurav, so he isn't actually in fact losing any terrain capture, and currently he will in fact be holding most of the map, while Hauptmann Husky is slowly advancing, laying down further barbed wire here, really wiring off most approaches, making it hard for him to be assaulted, and of course making it harder for his opponent to move around. And that's of course one of the brilliant things with barbed wire. It can really be used to make it hard for your opponent to move around, and that's of course one of the strengths of Volksgrenadiers with barbed wire. Riflemen moving in from the north though, but my goodness, coming straight under fire from the MG42, Schwer MG42, blasting away, suppressing those riflemen. But Volksgrenadiers though are looking to be in a nasty position. Pioneers moving in, and we are seeing a second Volksgrenadier team, riflemen hunting down and perhaps here trying to cut down some Volksgrenadiers, but the Volksgrenadiers get out of there in the nick of time. Riflemen moving in to support, but looks like they will be cut down, yes. MG42 blasting away again, riflemen moving in perhaps to harass the MG42 a bit. Volksgrenadiers moving straight out into the open. Oh dear, MG42 setting up in a nice covering position. Riflemen will have to get out of there. Oh my goodness, they are suffering greatly out there in the open. Being almost cut apart by those Volksgrenadiers somehow. That's quite extraordinary and a bit rare, I think. And we are seeing a full retreat from the American commander there, having suffered some brutal casualties at the face of the 331st Grenadier Division. Further riflemen moving in, taking some shot at these pioneers inside the building. Not a lot of losses for the Wehrmacht so far, in fact. Quite interesting. Volksgrenadiers though taking a bit of fire since they are standing out in the open, trying to seize a point. MG42 on the spot as always, suppressing the riflemen, which will probably force them into a retreat. And we are seeing some engineers laying down barbed wire here, but not there. And getting some flamethrowers, quite interesting. Volksgrenadiers slowly advancing forwards, while I wager Gaurav's riflemen will be reinforcing quite heavily there. Already heavy losses 5 minutes into the fight, and we are seeing tank traps being laid down here, probably to sort of prevent any armored cars from just rushing through here. Of course, an armored car could perhaps have a bit of a small advantage here, since in fact there's a lot of focus on the early tier, lots of infantry, and now a sniper. Medic, engineers down, I mean, not medic, and getting into the building, but that's going to be a rather bad spot now with a sniper as well. Engineers will have to get out there. There we go, one is down, and what does he do? Torch away some of those buildings, and my goodness, I forgot, apparently there's a large fight here, a lot of riflemen being cut down. In fact, only 2 surviving. A rather unfortunate move, I suspect, and when I do remember seeing this, that some of the riflemen for some reason hung around for too much. That is something that can happen during retreats, but again, careful with those assaults over open ground. In this case, it ended up really badly, since that MG42 was able to really do quite a bit of damage with those Volksgrenadiers. A better move perhaps would have been to move through here and then into here, rather than straight from the open ground. There we go, riflemen heavily wounded, will have to stop up for reinforcements, and we are seeing a weapon support center going up. Volksgrenadiers laying on the pressure here with snipers in support. MG42 covering, and Pioneer laying down mines. Laying down mines is of course as always a good idea, and now we are seeing some Pioneers in the south as well, putting on the pressure. A lot of fuel in fact for Gaurav. You could certainly have leveraged that towards some vehicles perhaps, but that's not opted for it. Riflemen getting suppressed here. This MG42 having a quite dominating position. Riflemen moving in with some engineers. One engineer is already down to 1 engineer. In fact, we'll have to get out of there, leaving behind only 1 rifleman team. We'll be facing 1 Volksgrenadier team and a sniper. Not good. And medic packs going up for those Volksgrenadiers. 1 dead by the tractor. And my goodness, what are those riflemen doing? Trying to seize a point while under fire. Oh dear, this is not going to end up good. And engineers moving in from the north. MG42 getting out, realizing that flamethrowers are on the way. Riflemen getting out. They have rendered at this point neutral, but again, heavy casualties. My goodness, Gaurav is just suffering heavy casualties barely every time making it out of there alive. With his rifleman teams, I'm certainly not very keen on this sort of application of his forces. And we are seeing some engineers just moving through for some reason, and getting suppressed by this rather interesting placed MG42. Interesting, and again sending in his rifleman piecemeal, and oh goodness, that's a sniper that's awfully close to the front. Rifleman continuing, and sniper get away. Of course, a bit curious again. I never quite liked the whole sniper being standing around out in the open, invisible. But there you go, Volksgrenadiers moving in on the rather now diminished rifleman. Again, they really should have not sent him out piecemeal. He's just suffering casualties that are completely unnecessary. And now he does have the weapon support sent up, but he doesn't have anything out for it. A triage sensor as well. Again, I think perhaps the better choice would have probably tried to go for the armored car and then sort of use that surprise to get the pressure down on the Wehrmacht forces. Now moving in, capturing some Volksgrenadiers on the wrong foot, cutting down several of them, trying to hunt down the sniper, but now another MG42 setting up. Volksgrenadiers moving in from the north. Not looking good either, are in fact forced into a full retreat. The riflemen continuing, being stopped by the MG42 alongside those engineers. Now the sniper joining in the front, but missing a few shots. Again, not entirely the best situation, and perhaps a mortar would be of help for the Wehrmacht, the American forces. We are of course also seeing the creek backs up now, so a pack might be sent in as well soon. And looks like a sniper shall be on the menu for the American forces to press through. Rifleman hitting a mine. No, not sniper, so he's just forgetting. Again going for this strategic cutoff point. Again sending in some engineers on their own. Not the best situation. They're just going to be cut apart. We are seeing some harassment here. Light albeit, of course, there's absolutely no Wehrmacht presence, so of course it's not a bad idea. And certainly a nice move, but at the same time he really needs just, there you go, sniper. Although I would have preferred a mortar here, I think. Rifleman also getting healed a bit. And now we are seeing plenty of Volksgrenadiers marching towards here, of course. Going to be converging on the American forces here, which are again rather spread out, not in large in numbers. That's rather the main problem of Gaurav. He's sort of been spreading out his forces, sending them in piecemeal instead of trying to orchestrate any larger assaults. And of course snipers blasting away alongside those MG42s, not looking good at all. And we are seeing in fact another retreat. Fuel point is rendered inert, but riflemen engineers will be running straight into all of these Volksgrenadiers and will be forced to retreat most swiftly. There we go. Riflemen continuing some pressure here. Pioneers might go down. Yes. Finally securing some larger losses on the Wehrmacht commanders, but riflemen are swiftly stopped by the MG42 once more. Pioneers nearby and the sniper harassing in the east alongside some other German troops. Grenadiers hitting the field with Panzer Shreks, expecting some sort of armored rush, but instead we are seeing the weapons support center. An M8 armored or T-17 will still be effective against those Grenadiers, at least to a certain extent. And we are seeing the MG42 moving forward. Sniper once more taking out some riflemen who are standing on their own with Pioneers quick to move in. American sniper though on the spot, hoping to do a bit of counter sniping. Shall be interesting to see if he can pull it off. Volksgrenadiers moving into support. And another taken down by the sniper. American sniper missing though, and of course this will alert Husky to the presence of an American sniper, which of course will make it that much harder for Gaurav to actually do anything with it. And we do see a bit of attempt at seizing this fuel point, but again I don't think fuel is what he's lacking. Some actual offensive forces is what he's lacking. He's lacking the ability to actually punch through the Wehrmacht's lines. That is what he is lacking, and he does simply not have it. He does not have any sort of artillery at all. A howitzer could have been of help, even a single strike at a good spot. Strafing run, a mortar, anything, but he just does not have it. MG42 though forced out of the building. Riflemen here not looking too good, fighting against the Grenadiers. Perhaps some hand grenades could have been researched. Riflemen will have to get out of there. Sniper moving in. Where is the Wehrmacht sniper? Because he could easily be a threat. Oh, there he is. And once more riflemen are suppressed by the MG42. Engineers moving in, harassing a bit in the east, but getting cut down by Volksgrenadiers. And we are also seeing a Wehrmacht mortar team up. This is again not looking good for Gaurav. Now we are seeing a bike joining in to sort of play a game of find the sniper and kill the bastard. Engineers forced to retreat. Again not looking good at all for Gaurav. He's sort of shifting from side to side, not really laying down any sort of focus. Now getting his own mortar finally. Bike sort of forced to pull back. And yes, we are seeing a Sturm Armory coming up now. And Wehrmacht mortar blasting away, forcing the American infantry to pull back from this area. While this area is